The most exciting 2 minutes in sports inside 23 days away. It's the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. And let's get an update. The Twin Spires are ready at Churchill Downs. Horses are arriving. Let's get an update on River Thames. Owen El Mighty, Tappan Street, going to work out on Friday. Sovereignty, his next work scheduled out this weekend. And American Promise continues to work forwardly for the coach, D. Wayne Lucas, for Derby number 151. But we start off with River Thames. Of course, he ran third place in the Bluegrass Stakes on Tuesday, ran just right behind the top two in that race. Now let's take a look at his career progression, starting off with a maiden win at Gulfstream Park. He did not run as a 2-year-old, but broke out of the gate, broke his maiden first time out, always a positive indicator, and Todd Pletcher had him ready to go. He is a son of McLean's Music. That indicates a little bit more speed than stamina. Then he went from that race into an allowance race at Gulfstream Park, his second career start. Kind of a quick turnaround from his maiden win. He won that race, was able to put away some of the other speed in that race, and drew off to the big victory. So he's now 2 for 2. He's won 2 races at Gulfstream Park. The next logical race, but it was kind of another quick turnaround, only 4 weeks to the Fountain of Youth after winning that allowance race. And he went into that one and ended up running a second place finish. He showed some speed that day. He was caught right at the wire by a stakes winner with more experience, Sovereignty. But I think that showed that River Thames could run with the best horses in Florida. Now, after that race, they wanted to get a little extra time. They got an extra week by shipping up to the Bluegrass. He ran a big race. Remember, he did kind of hop in the air at the start, and he angled out in the stretch, kind of was dueling with Burnham Square before losing at the line. The keynotes with him, he's ran 2 two-turn races. He ran a mile, and then he did break his maiden at 6 furlongs. 4 starts, 2 wins. Pedigree is more of a speedy one with McLean's Music as the sire, Discreet Cat as the broodmare's sire, but he is going to point to the Kentucky Derby. He brings either a pace presser. He's got enough speed if the pace is slow, but I think he'll be coming a little bit off the pace in the Kentucky Derby. Now, Owen El Mighty, he ran 4th in the Bluegrass, made a good run at the leader in that race to East Avenue. He's going to point for the Pat Day Mile. That's a cutback to the 1-mile race. He did go wire to wire in the Tampa Bay Derby. He got by with a slow pace that day. But I think for him, cutting back to a mile after running a mile and a 16th at Tampa and a mile and 8th in the Bluegrass, Owen El Mighty is going to be tough in that Pat Day Mile. There's going to be some horses stretching out and some lightly raced horses, but he's got the experience for Owen El Mighty. Now, the Japan shippers are starting to arrive. We've got Admire Daytona arriving at Churchill Downs. Now, he's got to go through quarantine, 42 hours of quarantine before he can hit the track, but he could be hitting the track later on this week, Friday or Saturday, for Admire Daytona, shipping in after winning that UAE Derby. The Derby leaderboard is set. Burnham Square with 130, Sandman with 129. Burnham Square already back at Churchill Downs after winning at Keeneland. Sandman has been at Churchill Downs now for trainer Mark Casse. Rodriguez is back at Santa Anita. He'll ship later on to the Churchill Downs. Tiztastic is already working over the surface of Churchill Downs. He's scheduled to have a workout on Friday or Saturday, depending on the weather. And we'll also be getting close to another workout from some of these other contenders, including Tappan Street's going to work on Friday down in Florida, and Sovereignty scheduled to work over the weekend, still down in Florida at Payson Park. Now, the Bluegrass Brisnet speed figures are out. We've got a 97 for the winner, Burnham Square, and of course, that is not a career high. He did have a 101 in the Holy Bull. His Holy Bull win was a nice effort over Tappan Street. He also had that big maiden win. He's one of the few horses with 3 lifetime wins, and that does kind of narrow down the field. Sandman's got 3 victories. Tiztastic's got 3 victories, so that could lead them to a little bit more experience. Now, Tiztastic picked up that 100 points in the Louisiana Derby. Let's go back to that rail to outside move. Remember, it was a fast pace in the Louisiana Derby. Derby. He was last early, then he made a move out to the center of the stretch and powered away down the lane. Now, the fast pace kind of contributed to the closers doing well in that Fairgrounds Louisiana Derby, but Tiztastic looks good in the morning, seems to have a shiny coat, and of course he tries to give trainer Steve Asmussen his first Kentucky Derby win. He's had a lot of starters, had some in-the-money finishes for trainer Steve Asmussen. Now, Tiztastic has won on the turf, he's won in the dirt, he's shown speed, he's come from behind. I think he's going to be at a middle price contender, maybe about 13 to 14 to 1 on Derby Day for Tiztastic. Now, other news and notes on the jockey scene. Florent Giroux is going to be riding Simply Joking in the Kentucky Oaks. Nothing has been determined about Flavien Prat, though. Now, he rode Publisher to a second-place finish in the Arkansas Derby, but Publisher's still a maiden. He did ride Chancer McPatrick in the Bluegrass. He had committed to that horse, but that horse is now not going to get into the Derby. So does Flavien Prat go to another contender? Remember, East Avenue had Luan Machado on him, the Axeman in the Bluegrass, but he's been riding Final Gambit. So is Luan going to stay on the Brad Cox trainee Final Gambit for Juddmonte? Maybe that opens up a mount for either John Velasquez, or we get a rider like Flavien Prat, maybe on East Avenue. Still a lot to be determined with the jockeys coming into the Kentucky Derby. Now, the Oaks leaderboard is set. Quiet Side got the most points. Lacara, Good Cheer, those are some of the favorites for the race. I think those top five, Ballerina d'Oro, 5G, Good Cheer, Lacara, and Quiet Side, the major Oaks Prep winners, they're going to be the ones getting a lot of the support, along with Santa Anita Oaks winner Tenma. We're going to start to see some workouts for the Oaks top contenders over the weekend. Take Charge My Lady, I thought, ran a good second in that Ashland Stakes on Monday. Did have the rail, but got back to that earlier form at Oaklawn Park for trainer Ken McPeak, who tries to go back-to-back with the Kentucky Oaks. Now, we've got the Lexington Stakes on Saturday. Our preview is up of that race. Remember, nobody from the Lexington really pointing for the Derby, but they could go to the Preakness, maybe the Peter Pan or the Belmont Stakes, other races to consider for some of the Lexington runners. Post positions will be drawn on April 26th, Kentucky Oaks May 2nd, Pat Day Mile, and Kentucky Derby on May the 3rd. Kentucky Derby Pedigree Show coming up on Tuesday, April 29th with Jessica Tugwell. Join us live. Ask your questions in the comments if you have a question for Jessica, and I can relay that to her on Tuesday, or watch the replay. And Triple Crown Prospectus comes out every Monday, 2,000 words on the three-year-old scene and up-and-comers rankings. That continues through the Belmont Stakes. Who do you like of the top contenders? What did you think of the Bluegrass Stakes? What about Tiztastic? And who could be a jockey for East Avenue and some of the other horses? Publisher on Derby Day. Leave a comment as we get you ready. Remember, D. Wayne Lucas always says, people have opinions, horses have the facts.